min kulli waba'in fid dunya. Ya Allah, protect us from this COVID-19 pandemic, save us from all the dangers, and protect us and our family and all Muslims all over the world. ربنا هب لنا من ازواجنا وذريتنا قرة اعين واجعلنا للمتقين اماما. رب اجعلنا مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتنا ربنا تقبل منا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. Thank you very much. I would like to call on Honorable Dean for his opening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome all of you to our 2020 CE19 Ibadah Camp. And Allah bless us with His mercy, and maybe be given or granted help. That's very important, especially now. And what is important is, I think, first, we should thank our Amir and his team for having preparing this camp for this year. Very we have to think on a few things, and we did tell him once that maybe there is no Ibadah camp this year, but then he said only one was Ibadah camp is the one. So inshallah, I think Allah bless us, and what we need to do is we need to make sure we keep our physical distance, but still remain socially together, because although we are physically distant. And second is that I want us to really decide the behalf of our brothers and sisters who has passed by to the other world, especially father of Sister Asian. Who else? I think the recent one we have young father, and I think recently quite a few. So let's recite the The objective of the Ibadah camp still remain. I think what we want to do is still create a what? In this case, this year we will have brotherhood in Islam, or even sisterhood in Islam. So may Allah help us, and that's all as far as what I want to say. And looking forward, I think, to the coming semester, we have a greater challenge. How are we going to conduct our classes still with the physical distancing, with the COVID-19 situation? Inshallah, we can do it, but we have to always remind each other, especially our students, that they have to be reminded, and we do not know what's going to happen after November. Because this October, November, we are going to proceed with the online, but after November, we're going to not sure what will happen. If, for example, the vaccine is available, okay, and we show how fast, then maybe time will change. But if it is not available, then what are we going to do? Are we going to still go on with the online? Or are we going to go on a 50-50 hybrid mode or whatever it is? So I think together we have to think about it. There are a lot of things that we would like to do to improve as far as the Kuliyyah's concept. My thank from all of you is please provide us with the feedback. Okay? No matter how the situation is, unless otherwise we have your feedback and you have your concern, then only we can improve and get better. Okay? So do not isolate yourself. So please come to us if you want to speak in the staff WhatsApp. If you're shy, you feel good, then come to me personally. Yeah? If you don't like me, you can talk to someone else, Sister Zen. Okay. You want to talk good about me or bad about me, you can talk to Sister Zen. Or even Dr. Murthy. Okay. So I feel that's fair. So, inshallah, I think what we need to do is we need to work together. And I always remind everybody that we are equal. So we work together as a team, and nobody can weaken us when we are together as a team, inshallah. And may Allah bless us. Okay. And with that, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you. Encourage me. Now we want to proceed to the lecture program. Fazila will be able to lead us.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we're reciting from Surah Al-Imran, verses 92 until 108. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون وما تنفقوا من شيء فإن الله به عليم. كل الطعام كان إلا لبني إسرائيل إلا ما حرم إسرائيل على نفسه من قبل أن تنزل التوراة. قل فأتوا بالتوراة فاتلوها إن كنتم صادقين. فمن افترى على الله الكذب من من بعد ذلك فأولئك هم الظالمون. قل صدق الله فاتبعوا ملة إبراهيم حنيفا وما كان من المشركين. إن أول بيت وضع للناس الذي ببكة مباركا وهدى للعالمين. فيه آيات بينات مقام إبراهيم ومن دخله كان آمنا ولله على الناس حج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا ومن كفر فإن الله غني عن العالمين. قل يا أهل الكتاب لم تكفرون بآيات الله والله شهيد على ما تعملون. قل يا أهل الكتاب لم تصدون عن سبيل الله من آمن تبغونها عوجا وأنتم شهداء وما الله بغافل عما تعملون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن تطيعوا فريقا من الذين أوتوا الكتاب ويردوكم بعد إيمانكم كافرين. وكيف تكفرون وأنتم تتلى عليكم آيات الله وفيكم رسوله ومن يعتصم بالله فقد هدي إلى صراط مستقيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء وألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا وكنتم على شفا حفرة من النار فانقذكم منها كذلك يبين الله لكم آياته لعلكم تهتدون. ولتكن منكم أمة يدعون إلى الخير ويأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر وأولئك هم المفلحون. ولا تكونوا كالذين تفرقوا واختلفوا من بعد ما جاءهم البينات وأولئك لهم عذاب عظيم. يوم تبيض وجوه وتسود وجوه فأما الذين اسودت وجوههم أكفرتم بعد إيمانكم فذوقوا العذاب بما كنتم تكفرون. وأما الذين ابيضت وجوههم ففي رحمة الله هم فيها خالدون. تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق وما الله يريد ظلما للعالمين. صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah khairan for the presentation, and pray to Allah to reward all of us as we pray and all of us that listen. Reward us in this world and hereafter. The next in the next 2 minutes, the tafsir will start. So the lecturer is almost here. I think he's back in the distance. So just wait for 3 minutes and inshallah.
So while waiting for the speaker, those of you who have not scanned for this session, the QR codes are on the box, so you can go ahead and scan the upcoming session of the Ibadah camp. Thank you.
The tafsir will start immediately. Our guest lecturer is fellowship professor Brian from Kuliyyah Economics. I think the couple of them we know already. Inshallah, he will be able to share with us. And then after the discussion, actually, we can also share our reflections. Assalamu alaikum.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على مولى رحمة الله نبينا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أما بعد. First of all, thank you very much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for working in the faculty and also the organizers of the events. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless all of you. I really appreciate it for granting the opportunity to be in your presence and to be sharing with you the little Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted all of us in explaining some part of this book, which I believe somehow has been neglected in recent days. That's why the problem happens as Muslims somehow do not believe in what they have. We praise and we reverence other people's work more than what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us. That's why we get lost. So today, inshallah, we'll be discussing some of these values that are contained in the book given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the Quran. And unfortunately, I cannot stay for the time allocated for this session. I will only take 1 hour, inshallah, and then if there is a possibility to go for comments or questions and answers, we will inshallah. So I'm expected to give a short commentary on ayah number 92 from Surah Al-Imran until ayah number 108. The first ayah mentioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is his statement, لَنْ تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ شَيْءٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ بِهِ عَلِيمٌ. In this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about a brotherhood indirectly. Because if I can convince myself to take from that which I have, and I don't just take anyhow, I selected the best amongst that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me, and I pass it to my brother as his love. And he also will appreciate it much more than when he sees me giving something that I myself I will not accept if I'm to be giving that thing. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this ayah, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You will never reach the peak of righteousness coming closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until you spend from that which you love. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to the believers at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, but indirectly to every one of us. When Shaykh says Quran is given to everyone, and this is actually what is found in the Quran itself. It is not restricted to the people living in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah says, so a communication will come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, or to the people who are living with him, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to everyone until the day of judgment. You're looking for a close relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're looking for a way to elevate your ranking in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving you the tips. Say they want to reach that position. He says, spend from that which I bless you, the best of it. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring you closer to him. Companions of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as usual, they're looking for these persons. You know, subhanAllah, one of the main differences between us and them, they believe so much in these things. Sometimes it seems to be so shallow to some of us nowadays, living in this contemporary world. But the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they really value. That's why they were able to attain the benefit, to maximize it to the highest level. So they always pay attention to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam when he speaks. So when he revealed, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him this ayah, and he informed the believers about it. Abu Talha, that's the stepfather of Anas bin Malik, he quickly went to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and said, Ya Rasulullah, I have a land, that's the name of the current, which is next to the masjid of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It was very beautiful. It has a very nice well inside. The Prophet ﷺ used to come out of his house and visit the place to get from that water. So he was so happy, so he decided to keep it for this purpose, especially when Rasulullah is benefiting from it. So it's something very precious in his eyes. But when he heard Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that, he quickly went to Rasulullah ﷺ and said, Ya Rasulullah, I heard Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealing to you this ayah. And I am now telling you, Ya Rasulullah, that this land is a donation of sadaqah for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya Rasulullah, you do whatever you want with it. And subhanAllah, and this is also a lesson the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam taught us, that whenever you give a donation or charity, you should start with those who are next. Which we found it missing in many instances. I will favor and benefit other people who are very far from me, neglected at the same time my close relatives. The Prophet ﷺ told him, that's a very, profitable business you are engaging. But I would suggest that you should keep it for the benefit of your relatives. So when Talha said to the Prophet ﷺ, yes, Rasulullah, it will be done in that way. So he took from that which is the best in his eyes and he gave it in charity. He wasn't being picky or selected from that which is not good in his eyes. He took from that which is the best and he gave it in charity. The same goes to Umar radiallahu anhu. He also went to the Prophet ﷺ and told him, Ya Rasulullah, one of the best things I have in this life is the portion of land I got after the battle of Kuliyyah. Ya Rasulullah, I really value it. What would you advise me to do with it? The Prophet ﷺ said, Habbis aslaha wa saddil thamarat. That's the definition of waqf. He advised him to make it as waqf for the benefit of the future generation and as well as his relative. He also put it and made it for the benefit of his relative and especially the poor people among the members of his family. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. We have to remember this. When it comes to a bit of righteousness, having good relationship, because usually when you stretch your hand and give something to somebody, that confirms the law from your side. The Prophet ﷺ said, was sadaqatul burhan. The scholar said, the reason why he called it burhan, because it is an evidence that shows that that person has iman in his heart. Because it's not easy for a person to take from the wealth of Allah SWT granted and pass it to somebody free of charge. So he says, Burhan, I Burhan on a simple iman sign. If you're going to take it and give it to somebody, that will be a confirmation that that thing is coming out of iman, which is you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Especially when it's accompanied with society. A lot to be said concerning this ayah, but as we said, time will not permit, so let's move to the second. Allah says, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ شَيْءٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ بِهِ عَلِيمٌ. SubhanAllah, this is also beautiful that we need to remember. Wallahi, the more you spend, the more Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes care. When He says, whenever you spend something, Allah knows about it. You don't need anything other than this. Allah says in Surah Al-Sabah, Allah says, وَمَا أَنْفَقْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَهُوَ يُخْلِفُهُ. I found it very interesting. He said, whatever you spend for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will definitely replace it. You know, when I spent, you spent, you're giving from a small portion Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted you. Allah says, فَهُوَ يُخْلِفُهُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will replace it. You know, your risk is limited. But now you gave that person from your risk. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you He will replace it. And then He invited you and say what? Which means you will never receive the same amount you gave that person. You only get lost in this life. When somebody takes care of you, the best one to take care of you is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these are some of the tips. You care about human beings, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to take care of you. Wallahu bi'alim abdi, ma kana abdu bi'alim. Close your eyes. There is another beautiful hadith. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya Muhammad, anfiq yunfaq alayk. He says, spend, we will spend. Which one is more valuable and better? You spend, Allah says, we will spend. He says, wala tulki. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was talking to one of his wives. He says, wala tulki, wala tu'i, wala tuqsi. You know, these are attitudes that we do. If I give somebody, sometimes I have to remind him, I gave you last time, I gave you this amount, I gave you this amount. Don't you remember that? SubhanAllah. He says, don't do that, because if Allah is going to do the same thing with you, you will be in trouble. Allah gave like this. He said, don't do that. When you give, just close your eyes. Don't remember that one. When the person is a thief, make sure he needs it. Just pass it to him. Allah is going to replace it for you. مَا نَقَصَتْ صَدَقَةٌ مِنْ مَالٍ شَيْئًا. The Prophet said, charity has never decreased the wealth. Charity has never decreased the wealth. We give, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will increase it. So after this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كل الطعام كان حلا لبني إسرائيل إلا ما حرم إسرائيل على نفسه من قبل أن تنزل التوراة قل فأتوا بالتوراة فاتلوها إن كنتم صادقين. Now after this conversation between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala touched a little bit as usual about the previous nations. So He's talking now about the Jews. He says every food used to be halal to the children of Israel, except that which is poisonous or harmful to their life. There was no restriction. You can take whatever they want. But you know their attitude. They kept on pushing it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make life difficult. And that's how it is. You take it easy. Even in this religion, it's not in the past. If you take the religion, you exaggerate, you go beyond the limit, you're going to fall into trouble. That's why we talk about wasatiyya. The real wasatiyya. If we are serious and honest with what we do, the real wasatiyya is to restrict yourself to that which was the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wallahi is the easiest method. You will never get into trouble by following the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam precisely. If you face difficulty in your life, in your ibadah, check about your relationship with the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Most likely you are not doing it in the way he used to do. Although we have different concepts of wasatiyya, we believe that wasatiyya is to be in the middle. You're neither with harm nor with harm. If this is the real definition of wasatiyya, then Abu Talib, I think, should be in paradise long ago. Because he was between Rasulullah and the Kuffar Quraysh. But that was not the case. Wasatiyya means to do it correctly. Don't exaggerate. Don't go beyond. beyond the limits, and they will go beyond the requirements. A group of people came to the Prophet ﷺ. They couldn't find him, but they found his wives. They asked them about what Rasulullah ﷺ used to do in his house. I found it very difficult to understand what exactly are they looking for. When the wives told them what he did, it looks like to them this is so little. One of them said, no, listen, Rasulullah has been forbidden by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He doesn't need to worry about anything. He's going to paradise. That's why he is doing this thing. And do you remember what are they calling little? In his house at night, he prays, one of the strongest companions and a very young person, youth, the power, the energy is there. He couldn't pray with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he was praying with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam at night, he thought the prayer would be like the prayer of the companions. I'm not saying like our prayer, because our prayer is something else, like that one prayer. So he went to pray with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam opened Surah Al-Baqarah, 286 verses. And his recitation, they say he recited very slow. Calm, doesn't go in high speed. He opened Surah Al-Baqarah. The Lord Rasul said, I thought he is going to make ruku, after 1 year or 2 years. He went until the end of Surah Al-Baqarah. But still, he goes beyond that. He goes to Surah Al-Imran. We're talking about the first rak'ah. He goes to Surah Al-Ma'idah. According to some narration, he started with Ma'idah before Nisa, and then he goes to Surah Al-Nisa. 4 surahs, among the longest surahs in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the first rak'ah. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, I was about to commit sin. They asked him, what are you trying to do? He said, I was about to say Assalamu alaikum and run away. Because he found it very difficult. But look at this, which is done by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the statement of those 3 brothers. They said, this is so little. Then where did they go with it? What else did they do better than this? That's why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came out and he found them. He said, were you the one who was saying this and that? Because one of them said, I will never eat in the daytime. The second one said, I will never sleep at night. The third one says, I will never marry. Because if I marry, my wife is going to take some of my time. I will never be able to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, this is not my sunnah. He says, I pray and I sleep, and I fast and I eat, and I marry. He said, whoever hates my sunnah is not my Muslim. This is the best because of being to restrict yourself to that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given. So back to this ayah. Allah says, كل الطعام كان حلا لبني إسرائيل إلا ما حرم إسرائيل على نفسه من قبل أن تنزل. Israel was Yaqub, Prophet Yaqub. There was a time he was sick. There were so many narrations attributed to this story, but most likely the closest one, this promise or prohibition or making things prohibited upon himself was based on the sickness that he had, and he promised Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that if he gets a cure from Allah, he will never eat camel meat and the camel. He said he would never eat the camel meat and he will not drink from the camel milk. Camel meat is halal, and this is one of the precious things to him. That's the connection between Lantana and this ayah. That was the precious thing to him. He said, if I can get this from Allah, I will give up. He said, I will give up this thing which is the best thing to me among the food. That was the Sharia. In our Sharia, this is prohibited. Allah says, do not make the precious and the halal things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made for you. So we don't have this, but the Sharia this is what he made for himself, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala maintained it in the Torah. He said, camel meat and the milk is prohibited upon him, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep that and make it prohibited upon the children of Yaqub when they came out. So he says, كان حلا لبني إسرائيل إلا ما حرم إسرائيل على نفسه من قبل أن تنزل. All foods are permissible for Bani Israel, except that which Israel, who was Yaqub, made prohibited upon himself. من قبل أن تنزل التوراة, before the revelation of the Torah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, من قبل أن تنزل التوراة قل فأتوا بالتوراة فاتلوها إن كنتم صادقين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked you to present the Torah, to bring it. Let them read it. If they are truthful, let them show that certain things are prohibited other than what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned. That's the problem of the Jew, is that they engage in doing things which they know they are contrary to the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Different from the Christian. The Christians worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala out of ignorance. The Jew, they have the knowledge, they go against. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called the Jew Maqdub alayhim, and the Nasara he called them Abba. Both of them are Maqdub alayhim, both of them are also Dalun, but Allah is describing each and every one of them with the description that fits their nature. Because Islamically, if a person knows the truth and hide it, he deserves what? Another from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have several examples in the Sunnah of the Prophet. Allah says, فَمَنِ افْتَرَى عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ مِنْ بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ. If you guys are claiming that there are things which are prohibited by Allah other than those which are mentioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you present the Torah, let us see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exactly mentioned in it if you're truthful. And those days Torah was changed, but still we have a lot of things which are preserved. I don't know how it is now, but in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, he still have a lot of things which have not yet been changed. So that's why from time to time Allah will ask them to present. Ask them to present the book. Let us see what exactly is written in the book if you choose. Allah says, قُلْ صَدَقَ اللَّهُ فَاتَّبِعُوا مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. For us, all of the previous religion, we don't need to pay attention to that. That which is given to us by Rasulullah sallallahu is normal. It's a controversial issue amongst the scholars. Are we supposed to follow the previous Sharia, or we're supposed to follow this previous Sharia? You have basically three opinions. But the closest one is the one that says you are giving the Quran. If you die without seeing the Torah in your life, if you die without seeing the Injil in your life, as long as you're holding upon the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you will go to paradise. And in fact, for those of us who are not engaged in da'wah to those non-Muslims, the scholars said it is not good for them to even provide us those books because they might find some doubtful matters that will confuse them. SubhanAllah, this is what we find nowadays with the young ones, because technology is so advanced and we don't have restriction. There's no way for it to restrict. So the younger ones, they go and search, they do whatever they want. That's why we find a lot of cases of our younger ones having doubt in the religion or even leaving the religion completely. So we have to also think about this. Otherwise, you'll be sleeping thinking that your children are doing the best thing, but unfortunately, they're still having doubt in the religion. So one of the best methods to stop this is to become the best friend for your kids at home and make sure that you don't bring anything that is against Islam and let them believe in what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam wrote. But honestly speaking, these are serious matters that we are living nowadays. قال إن أول بيت وضع للناس الذي ببكة مباركا وهدى للعالمين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قل صدق الله فاتبعوا ملة إبراهيم حنيفا وما كان من المشركين. Allah said, tell them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala صدق في كل ما قال. In everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to you is the truth. And it is not against that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them in the Torah, in the previous. And therefore, that was their religion. Our religion might be slightly different from them when it comes to the Sharia. When it comes to the Tawheed and Aqidah, the religions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all of them are the same. The same Aqidah Adam brought to his people, the same thing Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam brought to his people. Because Aqa'id are talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah doesn't change. The Sharia might change because people change from time to time. That's why in the time of Adam alayhi salam, the brother and his sister, you have other things which are mentioned to be part of the Sharia, which are prohibited in our Sharia. In the time of Musa alayhi salam, for instance, if Najasa touched the clothes of somebody, he cannot just put water and wash it. In our Sharia, there are some Najasa that you don't need to wash it, you just sprinkle water on it, like the baby that did not, baby boy who did not eat food yet. But in the Sharia, it doesn't go like that. You have to catch the place. When it touches your skin, you have to scratch the skin and remove that skin. All of these, if you look into their attitudes and their manners, you will understand why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is dealing with them in this way. So Allah says that was their Sharia. فَاتَّبِعُوا مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. For us, we are supposed to follow the religion of Ibrahim. Millah is a religion. Hanifan, what does Hanif means? Hanif means al-ma'id an shirk, the one that stays away from shirk in all of its forms. Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah SWT has given us an example with him a lot in many places in the Quran and in the Sunnah of the Prophet. If you look into his life, this is one of the best examples of Tawheed. And you know that the most important thing you will be doing is to preserve the Tawheed. Then the remainder of the action should come. فَاتَّبِعُوا مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Ibrahim never committed shirk. So this is a refutation against the Christians, a refutation also against the Arabs to the time of the Prophet ﷺ before Islam, when they have around 360 idols surrounding the Kaaba. And inside Kaaba they have the images of Ibrahim alayhi salam and the images of Ismail alayhi salam. Both of them are holding Aslam. Aslam, they are the arrows of luck. You know, they used to go and have those boxes in front of the idols. You put your hand inside, you bring whatever arrow or whatever paper, you can bring one of the papers, you can find the statement, yes, that's whatever you're planning to do, just go ahead, you will succeed. If it is no, you should stay away from it. If it is neutral, you should do it. So they portray Ibrahim holding these six. That means, according to them, he also used to do this. Allah says, وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. And subhanAllah, both nations are claiming, all the nations, the three nations, the Arabs and the Jew and the Christian, all of them are claiming to be related to Ibrahim. Is that true? Yes, in terms of language, it's true. The Christian and the Jew and some part of the Arab, they are related to Ibrahim. But when it comes to the practices, in terms of the religion, are they related to Ibrahim? No, they're not. And as such, you can cut off that lineage because the most important relation you have with somebody Islamically is the relationship based on Islam. Nuh alayhi salam, when he told Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, you promised me that you will save me and my family members. وَإِنَّ بَنِي مِنْ أَهْلِ. You know, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed his people, he destroyed his son also and his wife also because they did not believe. So he said, Ya Allah, where's my promise? He told me that you will save me and my family members. وَإِنَّ بَنِي مِنْ أَهْلِ. He said, my son is part of my family members. Allah said, no, إِنَّهُ لَيْسَ مِنْ أَهْلِ. إِنَّهُ لَيْسَ مِنْ أَهْلِ. إِنَّهُ عَمَلٌ غَيْرُ صَالِحٍ. Some narration, إِنَّهُ عَمِلَ غَيْرُ صَالِحٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, no, he is not. Why isn't he? Because he wasn't righteous. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cut off that relationship. The tafsir that says that the wife did something wrong, this tafsir is bad, is false. Because there was no prophet who ever married a prostitute woman. Abadan. There was no prophet whose wife used to do something else in this. She cheated him, she committed kufr. You know, there is a difference. In the kuffar, you have kuffar who are decent in this. They don't go for it. That's just it. So the wives of the Prophet this. So this is very important also that the link of Islam is greater than all types of things. So Allah says, "Ma kana min al-mushrikeen." So if you are claiming to be part of Ibrahim's family, you should be doing what Ibrahim used to do when he approaches Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says, "Inna awwala baytin wudi'a lin-nasi lalladhi bi Bakkata mubarakan wa hudan lil-'alamin. فيه آيات بينات مقام إبراهيم ومن دخله كان آمنا ولله على الناس حج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا ومن كفر فإن الله غني عن العالمين." Allah SWT talks about some of the heritage left by Ibrahim alayhi salam, which happened to be the Qibla of the Muslim. And the Qibla, their Qibla also before the existence of Bayt al-Maqdis. Allah says, "Inna awwala baytin wudi'a lin-nasi lalladhi bi Bakkata mubarakan wa hudan lil-'alamin." The first house that was established on earth is the one in Makkah. Makkah is Makkah. The first house that was established on earth is the one. Many of our predecessors said the word house here means the house where the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking place. So you can see the first masjid. That's the masjid of the Kaaba. We're not here to discuss the issue of the construction of the masjid of the Kaaba. Who was the first person to make the Kaaba? Who who built the Kaaba first? Some scholars said angels, some scholars said Ibrahim alayhi salam, some scholars said this and that, some scholars said Adam alayhi salam. So we have different opinions. Some scholars try to combine them, that angels built it first. Adam, rebuilt it, got destroyed, and then Ibrahim alayhi salam also was destroyed. Ibrahim also rebuilt it. I guess this is not that is so significant importance for us to do. But what we need to know is that this house is referenced by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is the most sacred place on earth. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, if you pray in the Masjid of Kaaba, you will get 100,000 more blessings than praying in any other masjid. So that's one of the significance of being in that place. If you have to pray one prayer, you will get 100,000 more blessings than praying in any other masjid. قال إنه ولبيت وضع للناس الذي ببكة مباركا وهدى للعالمين. And Allah SWT put barakah in that place. That's true. And wallahi, this is also a great lesson for us, that if we are to do what Allah SWT asks us to do, blessings and barakah is going to come from everywhere. Unfortunately, as I said, we don't trust what we have. But wallahi, we have everything. Allah SWT has cooked everything for us. We're looking for leadership, we want to take the lead, but we neglected the roots and the base. That's why other nations are always on top of us. That thing which will not be lifted is the source. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminded the Quraysh when they neglected Allah and they disobeyed Him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said they should remember who they were before. And all of these blessings they got it because they were very serious and dedicated. And the fact that the predecessors who were living in the place, they were very serious and dedicated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibrahim, when he placed his children in that place, he said, رَبِّي إِنِّي أَسْكَنْتُ مِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِي بِوَادٍ غَيْرِ ذِي زَرْعٍ عِنْدَ بَيْتِكَ الْمُحَرَّمِ رَبَّنَا لِيُقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ فَاجْعَلْ أَفْئِدَةً مِنَ النَّاسِ تَهْوِي إِلَيْهِمْ وَارْزُقْهُم مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ. SubhanAllah, he brought his family members all the way from Iraq, or from wherever he brought them. He brought them to this place where there is no life, completely no life. That's a great message to us. No life in Makkah at that time. No house, no building, no farms, no water, no anything. Why did he do that? And remember, Ismail and his mother, Hajar, were, you can say, the most precious animal he has. He has been looking for a child. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was a heavy test. But this is to show us that, how to live in terms of dedication to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and submission. Allah told him, take your child and put him in that place. No argument, no objection. He just told her, let's go. He picked them up from that place where the civilization exists, all the way to the place where Allah SWT asked him. When he put them in that place, Hajar looked at him, she said, what are you trying to do? He looks at you going back, he said, yes. And you're leaving us here? He said, yes. She asked him why? He kept quiet. It's so painful, but this is command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he cannot say anything. So he kept quiet. She kept on asking him, how can you go and leave us here? At last she told him, is Allah the one who asked you to do that? He said, yes. Now she asked the question that he answered. He said, yes. And subhanAllah, look at the tarbiyah that he gave his family. What did she say after that? She said, even let me wait. She said, if this is the case, I believe we will never be neglected by him. She left Ibrahim. When he reached a place where they cannot see him, he looked at them, the Kaaba was there. He cried a lot and he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant them. All of those things we are reading in Surah Ibrahim. So many things he asked, and each and every one of those adhiyah invocations Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted them what Ibrahim asked for. What they neglected that Allah? No. When Jibreel came to the place where the water and the food finished, they have nothing to drink. When she perceived that something is moving there, she said, please, if you are somebody who can help us, please support us. We need water here. My son is about to die. When she came, she found Jibreel alayhi salam. Jibreel asked her, who are you? She said, I am the mother of the son of Ibrahim. Look at the quick doors. She did not say, I am Hajar. She said, I am the mother of the son of Ibrahim. She knows that Ibrahim is somebody in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She is also not like Ibrahim. She said, I am the mother of the son of Ibrahim is. Jibril said, oh, why are you here alone? He knows. She said, Ibrahim left us here. And then he said, did he leave you under the custody of anyone? She said, yes. He said, who is that person? Who is that? She said, Allah. Jibril says, he told her, you should relax because Ibrahim left you under the custody of something who's sufficient. And that's how big it is. Allah says, huge, but the fruit of all types are brought to that place. No, they don't have the facilities to do it themselves, but Allah SWT made everyone thinking about it. How did he get it? Because of the dedication of the one who founded the place, and also those who followed him after him, they used to do the same thing he did. Allah maintained that blessing for them. But afterwards, when the new generation kept on coming, they decided to change. Allah SWT says, Allah says, remember, it used to be something else. We have all the prosperity. But now we have changed it. Allah SWT tasted the punishment which is based on what? Hunger and the khawf. This is not for them, this is for all of us. You want Allah SWT to be with you? Be very dedicated, patient. It's as simple as this. You want to take the lead? Allah SWT says, I promise you to grant you the leadership, but I have only one condition. The only condition Allah SWT put, He says, He says, it's a promise from my side that I will make you take the lead. But you have to follow the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're talking about civilization, right? Go and read about all the civilization that took place on earth. If you see the one that lasts, especially the Islamic civilization, it was based on what? Islam. Sulaiman alayhi salam, as the last example I will give. Sulaiman alayhi salam, when Balqis came to him, very interesting lesson to all of us, wallahi, in this time we're living. Al-Hudhud, the birds told Sulaiman alayhi salam, he said, وَأُوتِيَتْ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. He said, this woman was leading those people in Yemen, and Allah SWT has given her from everything that the kingdom needs to succeed, whatever civilization is all about, this woman has it. So he was praising the kingdom because it was so great. But subhanAllah, when she visited Sulaiman, who was she? She turned to be like somebody who's coming from a village. Why is that? Because of the civilization she see, which she had never imagined. She was trying to take off her skirt. She thought she was going to be walking in the water. She kept imagining what exactly did she see which blinded her eyes. She couldn't see the reality. And you know what Sulaiman says after this? I guess the most important lesson we get from this part of the story. Sulaiman says, he said, Allah SWT has given us knowledge before her, and we Muslims. That's why Islam should be the base of every civilization that is intended to succeed and to sustain forever. So back to the house, Allah says, "Inna awwala baytin wudi'a lin-nasi alladhi bi barakati mubarakan wa hudan lil-alamin." Allah SWT put barakah in it. Allah put aman in it. Wa hudan lil-alamin. It's guidance because it has so many athar. Ibrahim alayhi salam, athar of tawheed that can lead you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says, "Fihi ayatun bayyinatun maqam Ibrahim." And it has so many ayat, signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that place. And there is also Maqam Ibrahim in that place. Maqam Ibrahim is mentioned by the scholars to be the place where Ibrahim used to stand when he was rebuilding the Kaaba. So he stand on the place because the building is a bit high, so he needs to have a ladder that nowadays we use. So he was standing in that place, and Ismail was passing the brick to him to complete the building. Allah says, whoever gets into that place will be in the same place. SubhanAllah, the first person who did that was Ibrahim. He was the one who made that place. Or you can say he was the one who refreshed it. Because there is a hadith, authentic hadith from the Prophet ﷺ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who made this haram of Makkah a haram. Not Ibrahim was the one who made it, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it, but it was neglected completely, but then Ibrahim brought it back. So even in the time of Kufr, the Arabs, they used to maintain this. That's why they play with the money. They play with the months. And I mean, this is actually they used to be mentioned. The person will see the one who killed his father inside the territory of the haram, but he will not take action against him. Allah says, وَمَنْ دَخَلَهُ كَانَ آمِنًا. There are also a lot of commentary mentioned by scholars concerning this. When a person committed a crime and he gets inside haram, can we take action against him? Or we can't. There are statements from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ that says a criminal cannot be protected by Islam. You cannot commit crime until you go and hide inside. The authorities do have the right to go and take action. قال الله تعالى ولله على الناس حج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says one of the things to be done in respecting the place also as a pillar in Islam is to perform Hajj. ولله على الناس حج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا. This ayah from the Quran is the source of obligation concerning the Hajj. Allah says ولله على الناس حج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا. And this obligation is only upon somebody who can afford going for Hajj. And this sabil has been interpreted by the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, although it is a weak narration, but this is what is understood by the majority of the scholars, and this is the closest interpretation you do. The ayah which says, Azad wa Rahim. If you have the money to reach Makkah, and also you have something to carry you up to Makkah, the scholar said, and also you have something to keep for your family. If you have a family, then Hajj is obligation. قال من استطاع إليه سبيلا ومن كفر فإن الله غني عن العالمين. Whoever denied this fact and rejected and disbelieved in it, he should know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need his permission. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes back to Ahlul Kitab. He says, قُلْ يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ لِمَ تَكْفُرُونَ بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ شَهِيدٌ عَلَى مَا تَعْمَلُونَ. قل يا أهل الكتاب لم تصدون عن سبيل الله من آمن تبغونها عوجا وأنتم شهداء وما الله بغافل عما تعملون. These three ayahs are referring to the Jews because they are the ones who know the truth. But unfortunately, they hate the truth about Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and the final book he wrote to the humanity. So they know that this is the fact and this is the true book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They believe in all of this. You go and read the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you will understand that the Jews are aware of the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And in fact, the Christian and the Jew, non-Muslims, they advertise the arrival of Islam more than the Muslims themselves. One of Ibn Nawfal was a Christian. He was the first person who even informed the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam about what exactly is going on. And he believed in Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam before he was appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a messenger. When he first saw Jibreel alayhi salam, he was assigned as a prophet, but he wasn't a messenger yet. Who told him that he was a prophet? What I don't know. He was a Christian. And when the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam reached Medina, the Jew, one of the Jews, was the one who shouted to the Ansar. I told him that other gentleman. He told him that this is the serious matter you waited for. This is the person that you're waiting for. So they know about the Prophet ﷺ. One of them said, I know about him more than the way I know my children. They asked him, how is that possible? He said, because I read about him and I know his features, his details, his attitudes, his manners, the way he looks, before I even know who am I going to marry in the future. Allah says, so Allah SWT is asking them, how can after all of this knowledge that you have, and you still reject the Prophet ﷺ? So Allah SWT told them, how can you also block people and stop people from accepting Rasulullah ﷺ after knowing that he is the truth and he is coming from Allah SWT and he is the final messenger of Allah SWT. They have no single doubt about Rasulullah ﷺ. Christian might be different because they worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ignorance and the Jew ignorance. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu in tudiru fariqan min alladhina utul kitaba yamuddukum ba'd imanikum kafirin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked to the believers after telling them the attitude of the Jews. He said, if you're going to obey them, you will end up losing the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this ayah is applicable up to it. That's why I kept on saying that we have to believe in what we have. We have to reverence, and praise that we have to value it. Allah says, we're looking at some situations of the interpretation of others. And we try to interpret the religion to fit what they want. It doesn't go like that. And the way we don't ask them to do what we're doing, and we shouldn't also be asked by anyone to interpret the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the way it fits any of them. Allah says, لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَ. قال وكيف تكفرون وأنتم تتلى عليكم آيات الله وفيكم رسوله ومن يعتصم بالله فقد هدي إلى صراط مستقيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, how is it possible for any one of you to disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after having the book being given to you by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and recited to you by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he himself also Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is still alive with you? How is it possible for somebody to disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يَعْتَصِمْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ هُدِيَ إِلَىٰ صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. Whoever is looking for guidance, they should know that guidance is nothing other than the ihtisam we have in the message. All upon the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is nothing other than the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet. These two things, if you hold upon them, read them, put them into practice and action, you will succeed in this life and also in the hereafter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant you and najat al. Very simple concept. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned. He says, if you are to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and put your faith into practice and action, Allah says, we've promised you a very pleasant life. So it's as simple as that. Either you are in or you are out. With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no mujahid. Either you are in or you are out. And He knows what is in the heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I might show you something which is different from that, which is inside me, but I cannot do this with Allah. He knows what it is. So it's either I'm in or out. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, if you're looking for the most guided person in this life, look for the person who is holding upon the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. This is the meaning of istiqamah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is commanding each and every one of us to fear Him. Taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means to put between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to put between you and the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a strong fortress that can protect you from its evil. You don't want to go to hell. So put a barrier between you and hell. And what is that barrier? It's nothing other than the practice of the religion of Allah. That's it. That's the whole upon the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. This is what taqwa is worth. If I'm so many definitions given to the word by so many scholars, but in reality they're all coming back to this definition. Taqwa means to be very obedient to the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. قال اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. So after having taqwa, which is based on iman, we have to also maintain that. Which is the istiqamah that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam talked about in the hadith when he says, "Qul amantu billah thumma istaqim." Somebody asked him for an advice. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and the man told him, "Ya Rasulullah, don't say so many things because I'm not be able to remember. Just tell me something little which I can remember and I can put it into practice and action and I can maintain it." The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Qul amantu billah thumma istaqim." Say, I believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then maintain your faith until you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is referring to. And He says, وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. Don't you ever accept to die except upon the promise. قال واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إن كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا وكنتم على شفا حفرة من النار فأنقذكم منها كذلك يبين الله لكم آياته لعلكم تهتدون. I was just rushing to reach this ayah because I think it fits the theme of the program. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the unity and having a brotherhood and sisterhood amongst the Muslims. And honestly speaking, there is no victory or success in terms of power except with the unity, which the Prophet ﷺ was busy trying to unite the people. They were separated, scattered. You can have brothers and sisters fighting for ages, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the example here. Because we have also a Khazraj in some part of the history, we are told that they have been fighting each other for 120 years. And who were they? Their brothers and sisters. But why were they fighting? And that's also confirmed to us that if there is no law that is Rashid, there is no system that is Rashid, this is going to happen. As the Prophet ﷺ said, the people will never use other than the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except that you find corruption in all of its forms, especially when it comes to the bloodshed being widely spread among them. These people, one of them was killed, and the accused was from the Arab tribe. So the family of the murdered person, they took revenge. And the family of the murderer also took revenge. And there was no authority to take action. They kept on fighting each other for ages, up to the moment, the time where the Prophet ﷺ came. So the Prophet ﷺ, right after he reached Medina, what did he do? Try to bring this about. SubhanAllah, he did it in the most beautiful way, which up to date we cannot imagine what really happened with those people. The person was willing to tell his brother from the Muhajirin, these are my wives, and I will divorce you. Choose first which one you want. I will divorce any one of them that you choose, and then you go and marry that person. Of course, if she agreed. But even to have this initiative, somebody was willing to sacrifice his family for the benefit of his brother. You can understand how powerful was that establishment by the Prophet ﷺ. He understands that unity is the key to success and is the most important element that you need in life. Having differences will never take us anywhere. I'll give you one beautiful example that I took from Sheikh Al-Amin Shafiqi, the author of Ibadah. He has a very simple book which I advise if you can get that book. It's very interesting. Very small, you can read it within 30 minutes inshallah. He called the book Al-Islam Deen al-Kamil. Divided Islam into 10 points. Al-Islam Deen al-Kamil. Islam is the most complete religion. He says, no matter how much stronger is your power, no matter how much preparation you have, as long as you are not united, the army is not united, you will never succeed. SubhanAllah, he quoted ayah from Surah Al-Anfal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after he told the believers, when they are meeting the enemy, Allah says, make the preparation according to your capability. But then he told them, he said, obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Do not engage in differences and having conflicts amongst you. If this happens, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, attention. You will be defeated. And your strength will be taken from you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, be patient. Look at the Muslims nowadays. How many sects, how many groups, how many things you have amongst Muslims. Nowadays, not only that, we are different, we have the differences and we keep it in terms of the way we look, in terms of the place where we come in terms of the way we speak, and not only that, in terms of the way we understand. We used to have differences and they used to fight each other when it comes to the Aqidah matters. Even that one also shouldn't happen, because if your brother or sister goes against the correct Aqidah according to what you believe, what is your responsibility? Well, sit with him and advise him. But nowadays, unfortunately, we have differences in fiqh matters. If I disagree with you, sometimes I don't even say salam to you. Wallahi, I witnessed a moment just because you don't do something that somebody is doing, which is a fiqh matter. They don't say salam to you and they don't reply to yourself. That's what we do with others. How is it possible for a nation to succeed if this is who we are? Up to date, we have this. So we have to remove this from us. Wallahi, as long as we are looking for success, this has to be cancelled completely. The Prophet ﷺ says, "Kullukum min Adam wa Adam min Turab." He says, all of you are coming from Adam, and Adam is from Turab. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. The differences you have in terms of racism, of this and that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we have done that so that you will recognize each other better. the best amongst you in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is having the most of your peace. Imagine the life like the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. People are looking for how to benefit each other. They forget the differences amongst them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us here, He says we have to hold upon the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to unite ourselves upon this. And by the way, we are calling upon the unity. But the only thing that can unite us is the truth. And this truth has to be based on the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Let me qualify this. Because if I tell you, do this, because my Shaykh said this and that, you will contradict my statement with your Shaykh statement. Whatever I tell you, but if I say Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said it, every Muslim understands that this is the highest authority. Nobody will go against it. So that's the reason why we're looking for the unity, but it doesn't work. Because unity that we're looking for, it is based on somebody else's statement. But if you make it based on the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, regardless of that variation the Muslim is having, everyone respects Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we know that this one is guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that should be the source of the unity we have. And the differences between the light ta'ala will be limited. Differences will remain until the day of judgment. To stop having differences in the Ummah, this one is not possible. But what is possible is to stop having hatred after we have it. Just because you brother because from you doesn't mean you should hate that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ. So this, from here until the end of this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about that which happens to the Aus and Khazraj and the differences they used to have, the fightings among themselves, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala united them by the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah says, وَكُنْتُمْ عَلَى شَفَا حُفْرَةٍ مِنَ النَّارِ فَأَنْقَذَكُم مِنْهَا. You're almost going to get destroyed. You're almost going to be gone completely by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save you from that. So lastly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلْتَكُنْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةً يدعون إلى الخير ويأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر وينهون عن المنكر وأولئك هم المفلحون ولا تكونوا كالذين تفرقوا واختلفوا من بعد ما جاءهم البينات وأولئك لهم عذاب عظيم يوم تبيض وجوههم وتسود وجوه أما الذين هم مسكت وجوههم أكثر بعد إيمانهم فذوقوا العذاب بما كنتم تكفرون أما الذين لم يكن وجوههم في رحمة خالدون تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق وما الله يريد ظلما للعالمين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلْتَكُنْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ وَيَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ. So now we are supposed to be united in prayer. After all of these statements that we have heard from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are supposed to be united upon what? Upon the truth. But based on human nature, you're going to have problems, mistakes, wrongdoings taking place in our life. That's why a reminder has to take place. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did it beautifully in Surah Al-Asr, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala summarized the religion in that short and small surah. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. After Islam, da'wah has to take place. Without da'wah, we will go astray. Because for sure you will have somebody who is going in the wrong way. So he needs his brothers and sisters to fix him, which we lack nowadays. If I see you doing something, I don't tell others. But I will never have the courage to go and advise you. It's a very wrong approach. Talking to others about what your Muslim brother is doing is backbiting. Even if you say the truth. What is the way out? You go and see this is the meaning of brotherhood. Go and advise him, and advise him in a nice way. Ibn Hazm says, النصيحة السر لا تنصح على شرط القبول. Unfortunately, we're not like that. Whenever we give nasiha, the condition is he has to accept. If he doesn't accept, we won't talk about that. And this is wrong. You might be wrong in nasiha actually, in the first place. If he accepts, it's going to be tragedy for you actually. And sometimes when we give da'wah, we give it just to provide an information and give it to that person. And this is also wrong. That's what we feel. That's why we don't have the love. And the kindness and the mercy and the leniency when we're giving da'wah. Because the purpose is to transfer the information to that person. That person that you're talking to, he might have heard about this information before you. So your da'wah should be what? Should be based on what? Based on how to use wisdom and convince this person to understand what you're speaking about. And this is exactly what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was. So I'm trying to say is there has to be a reminder. This reminder should be based on wisdom. And don't go and confront a person in public, no matter how much things he does at home, secretly. Because usually you talk to somebody secretly, he will respect you. Even if he doesn't agree, but he will respect you. And the moment he does it in your presence, he will remember those advice. And they will come in the light and he will listen. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that there has to be a group of people who are giving the da'wah because we need. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, al-mu'min or Muslim mir'atu akhihi al-mu'min. إِذَا رَأَى فِيهِ عَيْبًا أَصْلَحَ. The believer is just like a mirror for his brother. You know, you take shower, you come out, you put whatever you want to put. Second, the next thing is to go to the mirror and see maybe you have some deficiencies. The Muslim should be like that to the others. You see deficiency, you fix it. Not to go and talk about that deficiency with others, no, you fix it. Imagine our life like this. When I see deficiency, I fix it. When you see deficiency, you fix it. Everyone is like that. People will be comfortable. But now, subhanAllah, you pass the people, you know they're talking about you, and sometimes you will hear them talking about you. What kind of life is this? You don't feel comfortable living with your brothers and sisters, wherever they are. So Allah says, "Well, take me from Ummah in the way of faith." There has to be a group of people who will select and appoint themselves as a Jamaat. And actually, in fact, this da'wah is not the responsibility of a certain group of people or organization. The scholar said, giving da'wah is the responsibility of everyone. We do it according to our capacity. Although you don't do it the way that organization is doing, but you do it according to your capacity, according to your ability. Wherever you find yourself, if there is a need, give whatever you know in that place. Al-Hudhud, he just went around. Sulaiman alayhi salam did not send him, this is a bird. But when he saw the peace and how people worship other than Allah, he came quickly to Sulaiman and informed him about that. Muslims should be active in this way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says there has to be a group of people who are giving da'wah to others. Living in a situation where da'wah is not established is very dangerous. It's very dangerous to the person who lives with those people, and very dangerous also to the people themselves. Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said the likeness of a person who lives with the people, and he doesn't give them the da'wah, and they need the da'wah, it's just like the people who are sailing in the sea. We have a ship, and this ship has 2 levels, and one level cannot accommodate all of them. And all of them wants to be on the top part of it, because they can see the sea and they can get water easily. So they have to do a pura, kind of board, to get some people who will be at the bottom and others will go up. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, when they did the pura, some of them they happen to go up, and others they have to go. So those people who are underneath, whenever they need water, they have to come up and get it from up. So they used to disturb people who are up there. And then later on, they decided to make a suggestion. They said, since our brothers used to get this now, why can't we do a drill and make a hole from underneath and get the water directly? We don't need to go up there. The Prophet ﷺ said, if they are to just watch and let them do what they wanted to do, all of them will get destroyed. It's a good example for us. If you are in the midst of the people and you don't give them the da'wah, when the punishment from Allah SWT comes, it will include everyone, including the one who is living. So Allah SWT says there has to be a group of people who will engage in this da'wah. Allah says, don't you ever be like those people who separate themselves and they fail to give the da'wah, because the Jew and the Christian were cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of what? Not giving da'wah, and also after they gave the da'wah, if they were rejected, but they will still have good relationship with those people who are rejecting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They sit with them, they laugh with them, they eat with them. Allah says, Allah is So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, those people who are separated in their religion, it means they don't follow the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On the day of judgment, they will be receiving a great punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The day, what is what the day which some faces will be bright, beginning light by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and others will be extremely dark by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of their attitude. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, those people who are going to be resurrected having those black faces on the day of judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says they will be reminded by Allah about their attitude in the dunya, which is what? Kufr. Going to hell is not restricted to kufr. You have to also understand this is a problem. Going to hell can be caused by a simple thing. That's why if I am to make some comment on this ayah, I will use the hadith of the Prophet that says perhaps a person might be saying a word, which is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he doesn't even pay attention to the words. It's so insignificant, but because of it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevating. And you might be saying something which is so insignificant, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates it. And because of this, person will go to hell. Somebody told his brother, Wallahi, then him for Allah. He advised him so many times. Fear Allah, but the brother doesn't want to accept it. He opened his mouth and said, Wallahi, then him for Allah. He said, I swear by Allah, Allah will never forgive us. SubhanAllah. No, this is just one sentence. But an angel came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to inform the Prophet of that person, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed the action of that person. The one who swore by Allah that Allah will not forgive him. Because Allah did not ask him to do that. He wasn't paying attention to it, and this is what happens. And you know that a woman went to hell because of what? A cat. And somebody goes to paradise because of what? Feeling darkness. More beautiful than this, the person who was just walking on the road and he found something that is harmful on the road. Nowadays we create the house to protect and to preserve the dunya. People are getting sick, people are getting this and that, we don't care. But that person, he removed that thing which is harmful to humankind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala appreciates what he did and take him to paradise. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, لا تحقرن من المعروف شيئا. Don't you ever disrespect righteousness, even if it is so little, because you don't know which part of your righteousness Allah is going to take and elevate you rightly. Don't you ever belittle righteousness. The same goes to the saints. Don't you ever belittle a sin in your life. Small sin can take you to, inshallah, not any one of us, but small sin can take a person to hell. I will close, inshallah, this with a very short story from Abu Musa al-Ashari. But before I close it, let me just quickly interpret the rest of the ayah and then close, inshallah. So Allah wants to talk about those group of people who will be resurrected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, having black faces, and also those people who are going to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala having bright and white faces. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, those who you put them in His rahmah and His mercy, and this is paradise. Then He says, these are the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ayat of wisdom that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reciting to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam with the truth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never intended to harm you. And wallahi, with no exaggeration, all of this that I have been trying to quote from our predecessors is like one drop of water that you pick up from the ocean. If you go to the Tafsir, they see a lot. We spend days trying to give these ayats their rights. So wisdom is there in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the only problem is that we don't pay attention and read it the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to do. The story that I wanted to close with was the story of Abu Musa al-Ashari, and he always tells his children to remember the Sahih al-Raghib. Sahih al-Raghib is a piece of bread. Before he died, he always told them, you guys should remember Sahih al-Raghib. So before he died, the children told him, you kept on telling us this, but you never told us who is this person. And then he told them that this was a person from the children of Israel. He worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for 70 years in the forest. He used to come down the city once a week to get food and then go back to the forest to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Very dedicated person, away from sins for 70 years. And he came down the city one day. Unfortunately, he met one of the prostitutes in the city. And then he looked at how he couldn't be patient. He went and stayed with her for 7 nights. 70 years versus 7 days. After the 7 nights, ثم كشف. It's like that blindness, because when a person is committing sin, it's like there is a blindness in your eyes. Allah says, وَإِنَّهَا لَا تَعْمَى الْأَبْصَارُ وَلَكِنْ تَعْمَى الْقُلُوبُ الَّتِي فِي الصُّدُورِ. During death, the reality is going to appear. Allah says, فَكَشَفْنَا عَنْكَ غِطَاءَكَ فَبَصَرُكَ الْيَوْمَ حَدِيدٌ. Things that you don't see properly, but now you see them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removed that barrier that is blinding him from seeing the truth that he used to be. SubhanAllah, he went out of the room. They said after every step, he would stop and make sujood and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive him. He cried a lot in the presence of that woman, and then went out of the room. After every step, he would make sujood and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive him. Until the time he reached the masjid on the way. And in that masjid, there are around 13 people. They are also monks, they're worshiping Allah in the masjid. They're very poor. And they have another monk who was rich, who used to come and feed them every day with 13 pieces of bread. So now this man joined because he was so exhausted. So he joined them. When he joined them in the place, so the man came in the morning to give them the bread, and he brought only 13. SubhanAllah, the man who came late, he got the bread. That means one of them who used to get the bread from the rich person is going to miss the bread. So he told the one who lost the bread, he asked the rich monk, today what happened? You didn't give me anything, and you know that I didn't have any other source to have food except from the one that you are giving us. The man said, no, I gave you. I brought what I usually bring. He said, but I didn't get anything. He said, no, you are lying. They kept on arguing with this. That person who got the bread, he said, no problem, no need to argue with the new person. He said, take my bread. He gave it to him. And the case was closed. فَمَاتَ بِالَّيْلِ. Who actually says he died in the same night. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked the angels to weigh his deeds. So don't forget, he has 70 years and he has 7 nights of sin, 70 years, righteous day and 7 nights of sins. When they weigh them, subhanAllah, the nights, they're heavier, they became heavier than the righteousness. 70 years and this is 7 nights. It's exactly what the scholars have been reminding us, that some sins, they're so evil. The way they're so evil, they can go back and destroy your righteous deeds. That person who said, لَنْ يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَكَ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, قُلْ لَهُ لِيَسْتَأْنِفِ الْعَمَلِ. Ask him to start from the beginning, start from the scratch, which means all of his righteous deeds are gone. So this man is confirmed now to go to hell because based on the result of the sin, he's going to hell. So they wait, and then the 7 nights, they're heavier than the 7 days. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the angels, where's the bread that he gave us? They brought that piece of bread. He was going to buy this bread in comparison to the 70 days. But subhanAllah, when they put the bread, the side of the scale, which is for the righteous deeds, become heavier than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the So this is confirmation of what I said. Don't you ever belittle this. As a Muslim, you should just understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to go with it. You take it small, big, whatsoever. Just say, this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is happy. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. Just do it. Don't go with this is big, this is little. As long as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves it, just go and do it, because you don't know which part of your righteous deed is going to save you in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the same goes to the sins. As long as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't like it, minor sin, major sin. You know, some of us will say this is just minor sin. Somebody told me that this is just minor sin that people do it. This is wrong. You don't know which, as long as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, don't do it, just don't do it. Try your best, and when you do it out of negligence, out of mistakes, out of forgetfulness, you have a way out. Wallahi, the most beautiful religion is Islam. That's why the scholar said, "La yahliku ala Allah illa halik." If you see a person ending up in hell on the day of judgment, wallahi, this is a real loser, because Allah granted him all kinds of way out, you know, that he can get rid of all of these tragedies before he meets you. If you make wudu, you put water in your hand, every sin you committed with your hand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, don't be dropped down. You wash your mouth, the sins also will go down. You wash your face, the sins also will go down. You go and pray, that the sins you committed between this prayer and the previous one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will clean them. You make Ramadan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remove all the sins that you committed between this Ramadan and the last one. When you pray and you do the tasbih, Allah says, if your sins reach like the size of the bubble of the ocean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive them all. SubhanAllah. And still, some people will end up going to hell on the day of judgment. How is that possible? So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us good. Let us understand this message properly. Islam is very simple. All that you have to do is to make your life in accordance with that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. Whatever you do, just make sure that according to what you know, this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to do. Because Islam never requested from any one of us to go to the masjid and stay forever. But Allah wants you to monitor what you do in this life to make sure that you're doing things correctly. That's may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us good. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. بارك الله فيك.
Jazakallah khairan for the tazkirah. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from you and from us to navigate beneficial cause in this time and hereafter. Before we leave, we want our day to present a very small token of appreciation to you. So we want to proceed to the next item on the agenda. We'll call on Brother Rashid to connect this.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Okay, it's going to be challenging for me. Okay, one, because you just have a very good lecture just now. Then the person that comes next will be in trouble. And then the second challenge will be because this topic, I think, is a very quote-unquote common topic. Yeah, I think we have in every Ibadah camp, we have this slot on Syama'il Muhammadiyah, and then we will be talking about the characters. But again, so we just remind each other, because this reminder, inshallah, it will be very useful, will be very beneficial for us. Okay, so this is the topics or slots given to me by our Ibadah Camp Director, Dr. Mir. I saw last few days, I saw one text coming from him, then I know he must be calling me or contacting me because of this Ibadah Camp, because I was sudden, you know. Okay, but again, all right, talking about this Syama'il Muhammadiyah. Okay, if you can see the first lines over here, can I put there what is Syama'il Muhammadiyah? I think it should be some kind of interactions over here at this hour. Okay, so anyone who wants to give a try for this one? What is Syama'il Muhammadiyah? Anyone? One. What is Syama'il Muhammadiyah? Every semester, every year we have this. Okay, some will say that it is about what do you call everything is about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, about his appearance, okay, about his characters. But actually, if we want to go back to the basic, Syama'il Muhammadiyah is actually the name of a book, okay, which is authored by Imam At-Tirmidhi. Okay, and then in this book, if I'm not mistaken, it consists of more than 500 hadith, okay, that explains basically everything that is related to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And as you can see over here, it consists of examples of the beautiful and noble characteristics of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One aspect of the book, one section of the book. And actually, it has everything. Like I said just now, it explains about the physical appearance of the prophets, how he dressed, for example, what color of the clothes that he likes to wear, the way he eats, the way he drinks, everything is about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And some part of it, they talk about the noble characters, the good characters of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then surely the aim of this book, which is authored by this great Imam, is for us to know more who Rasulullah is. That is one thing. And then the second part is for us to imitate, for us to follow as much as possible, especially when it comes to the characters of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that it could be one science to show the science of our love for our prophets. So that's basically what Syama'il Muhammadiyah means. Because I remember I attended one slot, and then someone asked me what is the meaning of Syama'il Muhammadiyah, and then everyone keeps basically translating these Arabic words of Syama'il Muhammadiyah. So basically it's a name of a book, which is authored by this Imam. Okay, and in fact, there are a lot of translated versions of the book in various languages. It's in Malay, in English. It's a very nice one. And in fact, the icon that you can see over here is the X. It has been developed in Google
Play Store. So for Android-based mobile devices. So I'm not so sure how complete, because sometimes it's not that complete, but I think I'm sure there are a lot of contents inside there which we can refer to, okay, at time for us. Okay, I better stand up. I have half an hour left. Okay, half an hour. Okay, so I'll try as much as possible, like I said, because this title is quite challenging, because everyone knows about it. If we talk about the characters of the prophet, everyone knows. Okay, and then if you want to list down the character, it's going to be endless list. Okay, you can just simply name it, you can simply list it down. So I'll try as much as possible, trying to bring the discussion into a different context. Okay, so when we talk about the character of the prophet, there are a few things that we need to understand. First of all, I put over here is part the purpose of the nubuwwah, okay, the purpose of the prophethood. Okay, we can look from that angle. And the second one is the essence of the characters of the prophet, okay, where it is reflected. Okay, and the third one is this Prophet Muhammad surely, as we know, okay, is a very good model for us. Okay, so when we look at the purpose of the nubuwwah, okay, we can basically okay, so just list down over there the hadith. Okay, there is one hadith narrated by a few imams over there, by Bukhari, by Imam Ahmad, by Hakim, Al-Hakim, Mustaqil, where this hadith, I think everyone knows about that, when Rasulullah says, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. Okay, I am sent down to you, okay, to perfect the good character, to perfect the good akhlaq. Okay, and then if you look at the purpose over here, Rasulullah can simply say that I'm coming to you to teach you about Islam. Okay, because that's basically the prophethood is all about. Okay, but Rasulullah specifically mentioned, okay, why I am sending to you is to teach you what akhlaq is all about, is to show you a good example of the akhlaq. Okay, so that's why it's very important for us to learn or to look at these matters. Okay, and the second one is the essence of the character. Okay. Again, this is a very famous hadith. Okay, when Aisha, when one of the Sahaba by the name of Qatada, okay, there's one Sahaba by the name of the Qatada, when he asked Ummul Mu'minin Aisha radiallahu anha, okay, what exactly, please describe to me, okay, about the characters of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then Ummul Mu'minin says, "Kana khuluquhu al-Quran," or kama qala. If you want to know about the Prophet characters, and then you have to look at the Quran. Okay, you read the Quran, and then that's actually the characters of the Prophet Muhammad. And we know the Quran is a book of guidance. It can guide us in all aspects of our life. Okay, and the third angle, okay, to take this prophet as a role model for us, particularly in the context of our discussion in terms of the characteristic of the prophet. Okay, because in Surah Al-Qalam, for example, Allah says, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. In the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he has a khuluqin azim. It's a very good akhlaq, very good characters.
Okay, and then another verse in Surah Al-Ahzab. Okay, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. Okay, it's a kind of statement made by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala that in Muhammad, okay, it is a very good example for you that you have to look up, you have to figure out how he behaved, what are the attitude, what are the characters, akhlaq, everything, the practices in terms of the religious obligations, and then you have to take that, okay, as an example for you that you need to follow. Okay? And then when we follow, okay, the characters of the Prophet, it could be one of the signs, okay, our love for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? And when we are in love with the Prophet, we will be together with him, inshallah, in the hereafter. Okay? Because there's hadith on this. Okay? So these are the three angles, okay, for which I think we should understand, okay, when we want to talk about the prophets are characters. First, we look at that's the major purpose of why he is appointed to become a prophet. Okay. And then where we can find or see the akhlaq of Rasulullah, we can look into the Quran. Okay. And then we have to take this as a benchmark for us, as a role model for us, okay, for us to improve ourselves. Okay, coming to the next slide, okay, I put at the spectrum of the prophet character. As we know, okay, since he is the best living model that we ever had, okay, his character or himself, okay, what he shows to us is very comprehensive. Okay, you want to know what are the criteria or the characteristic of a good leader, then you can look at him. Okay, in a family context, for example, you want to know, okay, what are the characteristics of a good father, for example, good husband, okay, and then you can look up at the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, in the society, for example, you want to know, okay, what are the characteristics of good neighbors, for example, and then you can also look at how Prophet Muhammad interacts or communicates with the Sahaba, with the neighbors. Okay? And then basically that's why it's a very, very comprehensive personality. Okay? If you look at this, I list down three basically aspects over there. Okay, how he conducts himself with the Creator. So there was one article, so I just trying to extract from the article. Okay, how he, as a servant of Allah, how he communicates, how he interacts with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala in terms of his Ibadah. And then we need to take that as our example. Okay, how perseverance he is, for example, in performing tahajjud, for example, istiqamah, for example, okay, every night. Okay, surely it's going to be a big challenge for us, okay, to come to that stage, but at least we are trying. Okay, so that hopefully is going to be part of what we call good deeds, as what Dr. Ibrahim mentioned just now, part of good deeds that we have, okay, that we are trying for the remaining balance of our life, then okay, we are going to get the necessary reward, inshallah. And then how he relates to his own self, not only his interaction with Allah, but how he looks after himself. Okay, and it's coming back to the Shama'il Muhammadiyah just now. Okay, in terms of his diet, for example, that's part of it. Okay, what kind of foods that he eats. Okay, it's all about halal or halal and tayyibah. It's coming back to that. Okay, his diet, his appearance, for example. Okay, in terms of the dress, like I mentioned just now. So that's basically his relationship, his character towards his own self. Okay? And then the next level is how he treats others. Okay? And then this one is, I think, a very a lot of discussions have been done when we talk about the characteristics of the Prophet, how he deals with the people surrounding him. It's not only the people, but other creatures. Okay? With the animals, for example, with the oppressed, okay? With the even with the universe, okay? With the surrounding, with the environment. all are there basically shown by the prophet. It's a matter of how and where we need to find those examples. And okay, putting again, like I said, because when we talk about characters, I think I'm not going to go in details about the character, because it's something which is in a way well known for all of us. I'll try to bring the discussion into the different contexts. So I put over here try to look at the dimension of the characters in relation to the man. We as a human being, we are living in this dual dimension. Okay, so just remember, I grabbed this idea when I first heard about this idea back in 1993. Okay, when I first joined UIA during the matriculation at the matriculation center, I attended the first academic lecture. I would say first academic lecture delivered by Cikgu Siddiq, Prof. Siddiq Baba, our former deputy director. Okay, and then this is the one that he presented. I can still remember until today. Okay, and then I tried to grab, because at that particular time, I found it's very, very interesting for us to understand who we are as a human being. Okay, so if you look at this dimension, there are two dimensions. One is the man's relationships with the Creator, okay, where it is stated as the vertical relationships. Okay. And then that is the relationships that will create ourselves as the Ibadah Rahman, as the servants of Allah. Okay. And then the other dimension is the horizontal relationship. It is our interaction with the fellow human beings, with the animals, with the universe, with the surroundings, and then that is the horizontal relationship. And then for this dimension, we are basically performing our duties as the vicegerents of Allah, as the Khalifatullah. Okay. So, looking at these two dimensions, there are two types of character. Okay, one known as the inward character, and the other one is the outward character. What is meant by the inward character is the character that we are going to possess in supporting our relationship or the vertical relationships. When we it's something that is inside us, okay, and then nobody knows actually about that unless us. Okay, for example, in our communication with Allah, for example, in our Qiyamul Layl, in our Salat, for example, how perseverance we are. Okay, and then that's basically we know about that, how is the Qur'an we are. Okay, and then that's basically can be seen in the life of the Prophet as an individual. Okay, and then coming back, how we relate or how we look after ourselves also falls into these directions. So that's what we call the inward character. Okay. And then the outward character is when we start to deal with the surrounding. Okay. But again, we will be talking about the same values. We will be talking about the same characters. Okay. We take passions, for example. Okay. When we are performing our ibadah to Allah, we need to possess this value, this character. We have to be patient. Patience in performing ibadah, patience in restraining ourselves from committing sins, that's also patience. Okay? And then when we deal with the fellow human beings, we also need to observe, or we need to present, or we need to have this value, patience as well. Okay? So we'll be talking about the same value, so that's why when I'm given this topic to talk about characters, I try to figure out the approach that I need to use. If we want to go look at the values, look at the characters one by one, then it's going to be no ending story. Okay, so we have to understand, we have to look at it from a very comprehensive perspective, very holistic perspective. Okay, what are the characters? He should be there when we are interacting with Allah. He should be there when we are dealing with our own self, and he should be there when we are dealing with the fellow human being, with the others. So these are, and then talking about that, just now when we talked about the endless list of the character, there was one article that talked about they list down, they call it the 3 foundations of good character. Okay, and then according to, I forgot the names of the author, okay, but according to the author, these 3 fundamental good characters actually reflects the whole characters, okay, of the prophets, okay, because it especially spark or stimulates the establishments of the other characters. Okay, so the first one is the passions. Okay, and passions, I think everyone knows, okay, in terms of meanings and everything. Okay, how significant passion in our life, we can look back to the Quran. How many times the word passions or sabah is repeated in the Quran? It's quite a lot. I think it's 80 times per second, or 80 plus. Okay, so it indirectly informs us in how important basically this character or this value. Okay, and in fact, if you look at this slide, it takes patience to be obedient to Allah, perseverance in worshiping Him, and to be gentle and kind under trying circumstances. Okay, and then this is among the fundamental character possessed by Rasulullah SAW in his life. Okay, we can look back to his life during his childhood. Okay, he lost his father even before he was born. Okay, and then he lost his mother when he was just a small kid. Okay, and then when he did the da'wah, for example, okay, the 13 years, very challenging years in Mecca, okay, he lost his beloved wife, Khadijah radiallahu anha, and then after that, his uncle who keeps supporting him in the da'wah, Abu Talib. Okay, so, but he faced that, okay, with passions. Okay, and then that's basically inform us how significant this character. Okay, and then this is what we need to have in our life nowadays, especially in this modern world where we live in today. Okay, every day, every morning, someone jumping the queue at the traffic lights, and you have to be patient. Okay, but again, it comes with some other things. Okay, not to be patient with that. Okay, no. Okay, so we have to be patient, but surely there are limits. Okay, but again, okay, this is the passion that we need to have. And then if you look at the second and the third point over there, it takes passion to swallow back angers and exercise self-restraint. Passion is necessary for the qualities of forgiveness, pardons, and self-restraint. So that's why I said, with passion, the other values will come later on. Okay, you are passionate, okay, with all the trials and tribulation that comes to you, and then the other values will come to you. Okay, you will be someone who is stronger, okay, psychologically, spiritually. You understand these are all the trials and tribulations from Allah. Okay, and then if you are not afford to face that, Allah will give these trials to you. Okay, so all coming from the passions. Okay, and if you want to relate this to the concept or the themes of our Ibadah camp, the brotherhood in its passions as well. Okay, when you have passions with your friends, okay, you can easily forgive them if they make a mistake. Okay, so once you are able to forgive people, then the brotherhood will come. Okay, so this is how important actually the characters, this character. And then if you want to look at the story of the prophet, there are a lot of stories that we can relate, okay, to reflect how passionate Rasulullah are in his life. When we look back to when he traveled to Ta'if, for example, okay, we look at how people over there in a way welcome him. But again, the angel came to him and then asked him, if you want me to destroy these people, just give your green light, I'll do it. But because of his passion, no. Okay? Forgive them because they don't know. Okay? Hopefully one day there will be coming a new generation that will accept Islam. Okay? And then this is the kind of passion that we want to have in the society nowadays. Okay? Surely I don't want to talk about other people. If I were in that position, okay, the angel came to me, come to me, okay, and then after whatever things those people do to me, surely okay, you go on. Please proceed, the humble. Okay, but that's not the case for Prophet Muhammad because of this character, because of this value. And the next is decency. Okay, we have to be decent. Okay, decent over here, if you look at the it's a character that confirms the accepted standard of morality and respectability. Okay, you have to be decent people, and then that's this part. What I call, if you look at this definition, okay, we can relate that in terms of the quality of work, for example. Okay, so because when we talk about the conform to the accepted standard of morality, okay, and then how it can relate also to the sincerity in our work when we are decent enough. Okay, so especially, and it relates to sincerity, I think it's more on the sincerity of the ikhlas in whatever things that we are doing. Okay. And then when we look to the perspective of the horizontal relationships over there, okay, decent heart will be honest, with the Creator. Okay, when we do our ibadah, it is going to be ibadah with a full sincerity. Okay, when we are treating people, okay, it's going to be a decent treat, a very sincere treat. We don't expect for any rewards, okay, anything in return. Okay, and then having this value, okay, in every one of us today, actually will create for me a very harmonious environment in the society. Okay? Because it's about sincerity. You do something good, then that's it. I don't want anything in return. I do it because that's because I'm decent enough, okay, I'm sincere enough, okay, I'm hoping for something else. Okay? So missing all of this value basically will create problems in the society. And the third one is the justice. Okay, so again, this is a very common value of character that I think everyone understands about that. Okay, justice, we have to be justice, especially from other perspective, is about we have to be moderate. Okay, you cannot be on the extreme side, and then you also cannot be on the other what we call the lenient side. It's too lenient in everything. It's not good as well. Okay, so very akin to the concept of our wasatiyah, okay, where people are talking about nowadays. Okay, so and then justice again is very for me is very important characteristic that we need to have within ourselves nowadays. Okay, you have justice, you have decency, you have passions, and then the other characters, the other values will come along later after that. Okay, and talking about this justice, okay, I give two examples: kindness sitting between the indignity and harshness, and the other one, generosity, lies in between reckless spending and miser. Okay. So we have to be justice and moderate in whatever things that we are doing. Okay, and then that's if you want to relate, still remember there is a story of Salman Al-Farisi and the other Sahaba Abu Darda, if I'm mistaken, okay, where Salman al-Farisi visited Abu Darda, and Abu Darda was someone that is known for his zuhud. Okay, so he keep fasting, okay, trying as much as possible to do the night prayers. Okay, so when Salman al-Farisi visited Abu Darda, okay, and Abu Darda asked his wife, Darda, okay, to prepare some food. Okay, so when the food comes to Salman Farisi, Salman asked him to to have that food with him, and he said, "It's okay, I'm fasting." So Salman Farisi says, "I'm not going to eat this if you don't eat with me." Okay, so he stopped. He basically canceled his intention to fast, and then he eats with Abu Darda, with Salman Farisi. So when the night came, Abu Darda is basically claiming to do the qiyam for the whole night. Okay, and then asked Salman al-Farisi to go to bed. And then again, Salman refused, saying that I'm not going to sleep unless we come and sleep together. Okay, so and again, Abu Darda has to agree with that, and then he went to bed. And then when it comes to the towards the end of the night, both of them woke up and then prayed together. Okay, and then during that time, Salman Farisi said, okay, you have to be justice to yourself. And then comes one of the hadith, Inna li rabbika alayka haqqan wa li nafsika alayka haqqan wa li ahlika alayka haqqan wa a'ti kulla dhin haqqin haqqahu. Meaning that for Allah there is rights that you need to fulfill. And then for your body, for yourself, there is a right also that you need to fulfill. And then for your family, they have right as well that you need to maybe spare sometimes with them. So you have to give all this right accordingly. Okay. So when the other Sahaba narrate that words to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah agreed with that. He said that Salat Salman, something like that. Okay, so Salman is right. So again, it's about the justice of it. We have to be justice with everyone. Okay, so because when we are just, okay, there will be something positive in return. Okay, so it's not that easy sometimes. Okay, talking about the concept of justice. Okay, for example, there was another story, if I may share over here. There is one guy by the name of Sakhar, if I'm mistaken. He's a chief tribe, okay, in somewhere near Taif, and then he was the one who basically helped Rasulullah when Rasulullah went to Taif. Okay, so in that situation, then we can understand that guy surely, after that incident, will be someone who is very close to the heart of the Prophet. Okay, but to cut the story short, after 2 or 3 years, if someone came to Rasulullah and made a case against Sakhar that time. Okay. Even though Rasulullah was very close to this guy, I forgot what were the cases. But Rasulullah says that you are guilty. Even though I love you, you are very close to my heart. Okay, you have helped me when everyone rejected me, but on the name of justice, I have to be just. You are guilty. Okay, and then that Sakhar was punished. Okay, so this is a kind of, for me, some of the values that we are missing nowadays, okay, which basically contribute to the what we call the hanky-panky that we have in this society. We can imagine if we can really instill at least these 3 values, okay, the sincerity, justice, passion, and I think we will be able to build a very solid society. Okay, so done with that part. Talking about the characters, like I said, it's going to be a very endless list. Okay, but what is more important that I want to share over here, okay, knowing all of this, what will be our action? What should we do as what we call someone who says that I believe in the prophets. Okay. So surely we have to model, okay, ourselves in accordance to what are left by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay. And then again, the authors of the article that I found, they put here some sort of tips or guides. Okay. The first one, they put it as striving. We have to strive, okay, within ourselves to exhibit good characters, traits, and refrain from the bad one. Okay. So we have to look into this character. There are a lot. Okay. So you can refer to the hadith. You can also look back to the tafsir of the Quran, for example. It's not only the characters of the Prophet Muhammad. Okay. For example, we just now listened to the story of Ibrahim, Ismail, and other prophets. There are a lot of, surely there are, these are a group of people with full of characters that we can take. If not 100%, just maybe 5%, 10%, we can take and then apply it to ourselves. And surely it's not that easy, you know, to get rid of what we call the legacy character that we have had with us for many, many years, for 10 years, for 20 years, maybe more than that, 30, 40 years. Okay? To simply get rid of those bad character and then replace it with a good character taken from these stories of the prophets. It needs struggles, especially. Okay. And there is if you look at that, we have to strive. Okay. Struggles, and then comes with a dua that inshallah, okay, Allah will guide us. Okay. So, but the intention must be there. Okay. If before we were bad-tempered, for example, okay, I want to get rid of this character and then I want to replace it with the noble value of intentions. Okay. So the good intention must be there. Okay. Put it straight away in front of you and then strive to go for it, inshallah. Okay. So surely like I said, it's going to be challenging, but that's what we need to do. And next is to do the self-assessment. And it is very important because only we know who we are. Okay? Even our partner, our spouse don't even know we in details, but we ourselves we understand. Okay? Okay, about ourselves. Okay? Do what we call, try to do some contemplations. Okay? Sit down and then look back. Okay, what are my weaknesses? Okay, what are the wrong things with me? Do I have some problem with my soul or not? List down all those problems and then do what we call the self purifications. Okay, so those are two steps of processes which are basically proposed by Imam Al-Ghazali. Okay. First, you have to expel the ailment of soul and its immoral manner. Okay. You identify through the self-assessment, muhasabah, contemplations, okay. Try to get rid of those habits and then replace it with the noble character, with the noble value. Okay. And then basically, if we look at this, okay, the words of Imam Al-Ghazali, it's become like our responsibility. Okay. Even though we think that there's nothing wrong with ourselves, we have to do this contemplation. We have to do this muhasabah. Okay. Even though we believe that, hey, I am very good man, okay, I have no hasad dengki, okay, whatsoever, okay, with other people, I have a very good, kind-hearted personality. But again, we have to do these contemplations, okay, from time to time. Because as a normal human beings, okay, we cannot run away, okay, from these problems. The next one is aspiring for the best. Again, it's coming back to concept of Shama'il Muhammadiyah. Okay, we have to find a role model. Okay, when in our case, it can be Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, look at the character of the prophet. Okay, try to look into those characters one by one, for example, and try to digest those characters and which one that could be the easiest for us to apply at the beginning. Okay, we could take it one by one. Okay, in terms of the Ibadah, for example, in terms of our interactions, our communication with the friends, for example, if we are kind of person that normally use such kind of bad words, for example, and try to replace it, try to reduce it. Okay, again, we need to strive. It's going to be very challenging. Okay? We should seek out and even create opportunities to exhibit good behaviors. And then the last one, that's the last one. The last one is substitution, okay, to replace it. So this is we have to find the alternative. So basically, it relates to each other. Okay, doing the self-assessment. Okay, identify our weaknesses, and then we strive for it, and then we substitute. Okay, we find a role model, and then we change ourselves so that we can be a better person, inshallah. So for me, the second part of this tazkirah is more important. Okay, to talk about the character of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I think everyone knows about that. Okay, maybe you know more than me. Okay, but what is more important? What are the things that are coming? What is our actions? The to-do kind of things. Okay, you know that Rasulullah is a very passionate guy, and then what should we do? We know Rasulullah, okay, is very kind-hearted, very generous. Okay, and what should we do as his follower? For me, that is more important. Our actions. Okay, and then to do this, surely it is basically a process. Okay. Process that we have, and then hopefully we still have time, okay, to complete this process. Not to say to be able to complete, but at least we strive. Okay, so that is going to be considered as part of our good deeds. Okay, how small it is, like what Dr. Ibrahim mentioned just now, how small it is, at least there is an effort coming from us to change our life, okay, to become a better person. So we have to, how many years? We don't know how many years that maybe not even years, could be months left, or maybe weeks, or maybe the next few hours. We don't know. But at least there must be an intention for us to change, okay, from good to be better. Okay. We already the stage of better person, maybe we can be the best. So I leave all of us with this. This is the last slide. I think I just one time. All right. So we need to pray a lot, basically, so that we have enough strength, okay, to get involved in this process, okay, so that we can decorate ourselves with the balance that we have with good akhlaq. Okay, and then why it's very important for us to be a person with a good akhlaq, okay, because if you want to relate to, there are many hadith. Okay, one of them is, for example, Akmalul Mu'minina Iman, Ahsanuhum Akhlaqa. Okay, the most perfect mu'min, okay, is the one who has good akhlaq. Okay, and then in another hadith, Rasulullah says that those who possess a good akhlaq, they are the one who will be very close to me the day of judgment. Okay, so akhlaq is very important, and it's coming back to the purpose of the nubuwwah that I mentioned at the beginning just now. Okay, why Rasulullah, out of many things, many duties that are put on his shoulder, says that I come to you clearly to perfect the good akhlaq. Okay, because society with the good akhlaq, okay, they will be living in a very what we call harmonious situations. Okay, so we look back to the human civilization even. Okay, the fall, one of the factors contributed to the fall of any civilization is the fall of their moral systems. Okay, how good they are, Okay? The Rome Empire, for example, the Greek Empire, even the Islam Empire, for example. Okay? One of the common factors contributed to the fall of this civilization is the fall of the ethics. Okay? So when we are in a way fixed on this part, this dimension, then inshallah we can be a better personality, and then hopefully we can be one of the person that always struggle, always strive to improve ourselves in this context, inshallah. So with that, thanks a lot, and then sorry if there is any shortcomings. Surely there are a lot of shortcomings, but at least hopefully we can grab something useful that we can bring back home for us to apply to ourselves, to our family, and to our friends. Okay, with that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for the presentation. We hope that we will to make it a short form to give us the correct plan to give the correct this is supposed to be our last lecture for today, but I just want to say maybe to say some comment or any of us also. If you have reflections you want to share with us on comments, anything you can also add to it. Any maybe from the lectures, any wisdom you want to share. Anyone please? Rahima? All right, I will call at the head of the committee to say a few words before.
So basically, I want to thank everyone for attending the first day of Ibadah. Thank you, my brothers and sisters. I hope whatever we gain in this Ibadah will go on until after this. Inshallah, those who we haven't met before, you have had a chance to talk to today, so we should be knowing each other, all of us this together. Inshallah. So before we go, we have a small tea break at the back, so you guys can in English. So we can have our meal before we go and end the session for today. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope to see you again tomorrow for our second day of Ibadah. Thank you. Tomorrow, I forgot about my detail. Tomorrow we will start at 10 o'clock. There's supposed to be dua, but we will perform it by ourselves. Inshallah, as Abdul said, we have to be decent. So yes, I trust everyone will do it. Inshallah.
right. Thank you. You finished? It's okay. So, yeah,